Hello students, we are going to continue with the next section. That is in continuation, I was talking regarding the white blood cells, and we have discussed what are white blood cells, what are different types of white blood cells, how they are formed, and what are their normal counts. So we have seen this much part. Now in this session, we will continue with the morphology. The morphological features of these different type of WBCs will be studied under microscope and with the help of stain. These are the different types of WBCs. Three types of granulocyte, neutrophil, eosinophil, and basophil, and two types of agranulocyte, lymphocytes and monocyte. Under microscope, you can differentiate the lymphocyte into two types also, small lymphocyte and large lymphocyte. So one by one, we are going to see this. The neutrophils, if you see, is around 10 to 14 micrometer in size. If we are looking at the nucleus only, in young cells, it is horseshoe-shaped nucleus, and as the cell grows, then it becomes lobed nucleus. In the mature neutrophil, the color of the nucleus is purple, and we can see 2 to 6 lobes of nuclei. So depending on these particular features, we can identify this cell, and these lobes will be connected by the chromatin filaments. So this is how they will be. There are three lobes which we can see, three lobes of nucleus, and this is the chromatin filament by which it is connected with each other. Apart from that, the cytoplasm will be having a pale bluish color, and there will be fine pinpoint granules will be there. So these granules will be taking both acidic and basic stain. So violet pink is the perfect color which is seen, but many a times they are pinkish, more pinkish color is seen under the microscope, and there will be a very fine sheet of these granules. So identification of the neutrophil, first is we have to identify the number of lobes, and then we can identify the granules also. So we can see this in this particular cell, the less number of granules are seen, but we can identify these, the granule size is very less. Now, if you see the lifespan and fate of neutrophils, it is neutrophils will be released from the bone marrow. So they are formed there, and then they will be entering into the circulation. And these circulatory pools will be two types of pools. The first is circulating pool, and the second is marginal pool. The 50% of the cells will be in the circulation. So in the blood at any instant, 50%, half of the neutrophils will be in circulation. The remaining half will be in the marginal pool. Now, what does it mean by marginal pool? These 50% cells will remain marginated, or they will be sidelines. So they will be sticking to the cells close to the capillaries, venules, small veins. So they will be lined up into a pool, and they will be remaining there as marginated. Now, this circulatory pool and marginal pool can we have the rapid exchange between the two pools. So, if required in the circulation, the marginal pool cells will be circulated there. And if they are not required in the circulation, the circulatory pool neutrophils will be marginated. So, there is a rapid exchange between these two pools. The granulocytes generally remain in the circulation for 8 to 10 hours. Now, after that, they will enter the tissues after migration, and they will enter the tissues. But once they enter in the tissues, they will never return to the bloodstream. And generally, due to the senescence or during the process of phagocytosis, the cells are destroyed within 4 to 5 days. The dead neutrophils will be taken up by the macrophages, and they will be eliminated either by intestine through feces or by respiratory secretions. The old senile neutrophils will be characterized by there will be no motility. When poorly stained granules will be seen, number of lobes will be, nuclear lobes will be more. There is easy breakability when making the blood smear. So by these we can identify that the cell is mature or senile. The major function of neutrophil is phagocytosis. The second important function it contributes is gives a reaction to inflammation, and the third is febrile response. Now, what exactly is phagocytosis? It is a cell eating. So the process of engulfment when the particle size is much more. So if there is a solid particulate material, it will be engulfed by the cell, and this process is known as phagocytosis. And this is occurring in these phases: margination, immigration, diapedesis, chemotaxis, opsonization, engulfment, secretion, or directly finally degradation. So this is how it is occurring. The first, there will be microbe or other particle, which will be here, the cell it is there. So the plasma membrane is there, and then it goes from this to this phase. So process first is chemotaxis and adherence of microbe to the phagocyte. So this is the first stage. Then at the second stage, there is ingestion of the microbe by the phagocyte. So this plasma membrane will be folded down, and then it will be trying to ingest the microbes. And after ingestion, the third stage, that is formation of a phagosome. So there is a phagocytic vesicle inside which the microbe is there. Then the fusion of phagosomes with a lysosome occurs. The lysosomes are present already inside the cell to form the phagolysosomes. This will be digesting the microbes by different types of enzymes. So there is digestion of these particular microbe. And then if this is occurring in a partial stage, and here there will be a residual body formation where whatever part which is digestible will be eaten up, and whatever remaining which is an indigestible material, that will be forming the residual body. So that is the sixth stage. And this is not digestible by the cell. So this will be discharged as an waste material. And this is the seventh state of phagocytosis. So this is how the phagocytosis is occurring. Now, what are the different variations? The physiological variations, we have seen that the age, of course, is counting. The newborn babies will be having much more count. After exercise, it increases. After meals also, it increases. During pregnancy, menstruation, lactation, it is showing increase. In mental and emotional stress also, it is showing change. And after injection of epinephrine. So these variations will be physiological variations. Whereas these variations can be counted by one count, which is very difficult to understand without the microscope. But this is the count which is done for counting the number of nucleus with different nuclear lobes and expressing the count as percentage of cells with different number of nucleus. So that is known as Arnett count. In your practical books, it will be given. So if you have to count the number of mature cells and immature cells, then you can find out this, and you can count the number of cells, and that count is known as Arnett count. So you judge the rate of formation of neutrophils by that. So 3 lobe cells are fully mature and functionally most efficient, and that indicates the higher rate of formation. So we can count these numbers. So if you are having 3 lobe nucleus, and that is around 80%, that means it is a right sheet. That means mature cells are much more. The high rate of formation is there. But if it younger cells are there, then there will be only 1 or 2 nuclei will be there, and 20% only will be there. So that is known as left sheet. So that is mature cells will be less in number. So the cell nucleus, if it is having 4 to 5, that is known as mature. But these nucleus lobes 4 to 5, if they are only 20%, that means the younger cells are much more, mature cells are less. So that is low rate of formation. So this is how we can count or see the Arnett count. Now coming to the next cell, that is eosinophil. It is somewhat similar in size, 10 to 40 micrometer, purple in color. It is maybe bilobed or it may be trilobed. In most of the condition, that is 85%, it is bilobed. There is only 15% it is trilobed. The cytoplasm is acidophilic and it appears bright pink in color. With coarse, deep red staining granules which are not covering the nucleus. So we can identify the nucleus, and there are bright pink color granules are there, and they are much more insides. They stay positive for the peroxidase. Granules will be also containing the histamine and lysosomal enzyme. So these granules will be having these functions. You can see bilobe nucleus very clearly. Now we can compare the granule size also. If you remember the previous slide, the US neutrophil was having very fine granules, and here they are size is much bigger and they are coarse and bright pink in color. So spectacle shaped nucleus is there. The functions of this is again they help in phagocytosis, and their role basically is important in parasitic infection. The larvicidal polypeptides will be there. Then eosinophilic cationic proteins are there, and eosinophilic peroxidase is there. So due to that, it is having an important role in parasitic infection prevention. It is also having a role in allergic reaction because the granules are containing the histamine, and it is having a role in immunity also. The third type is basophil, somewhat similar in size, 10 to 14 micrometers. Nucleus is very irregular. It may be having 2 lobes, it may be having 3 lobes, but the boundaries are not clearly defined because the pores granules will be there and there will be overcrowding of these pores granules. Generally, the cytoplasm is basophilic and they appear full of granules, and we can't identify the nucleus underneath. So it is obstructing the view of nucleus. That much dense and coarse granules will be there. Overcrowding of granules will be there. The granules will be having heparin, will be having histamine and 5-hydroxytryptamine. So this is how it is looking like. So you can identify the different color, that is basophil, and we can't identify the nucleus. So that much is, but the percentage of this basophil is very less. So it becomes very difficult to identify the cell also. And the first year again, it becomes very difficult. In your books, the count is written as 0 to 1%. So that means 0 is also common. So many a times, if you are counting 100 cells, may not be possible to see one basophil. The functions of this is again helping in the phagocytosis, as it contains the anti-allergic chemical substances. It is having a role in allergic reaction. It is also having a role in preventing the spread of allergic inflammatory process by causing the release of heparin. So that is again a no. Then coming to the next, that is agranulocyte, the lymphocyte. There will be 2 types. Large, it will be having 12 to 16 micrometer size, whereas small is somewhat similar to RBCs, because the RBCs is having 7.2 micrometer size around that. So the small lymphocyte will be somewhat similar to that. The nucleus is large, round, single nucleus, which almost completely fills the cell, and it stays blue very deeply. So it is termed as ink spot appearance. The chromatin is clumped and shapeless. So you can identify these type of cells. So this is a large lymphocyte. Then the cytoplasm is very scanty, contains light blue color around the nucleus and does not contain any visible granules. So the functions will be, functions of the subtypes are B lymphocyte, T lymphocyte, and natural killer cells. The B lymphocyte, as we have already seen, they contribute to humoral immunity. T lymphocyte contribute to cellular immunity, and natural killer cells will be responsible for innate immunity. The B and T cells enter into the circulation and remains in circulation for a few hours. Then they leak out to the venules, then settle in the peripheral lymphoid tissues. So these are the secondary lymphoid tissues which we have seen in the sessions of immunity, lymph nodes, B and GARD. At any given time, only 2% of the body lymphocytes are in the these lymphoid tissues. Okay, peripheral lymphoid tissues. So only 2% will be there. Some lymphocytes re-enter the circulation to the lymphatic drain to the lymphoid tissues, and then they will be recirculating for months to years. So this is how the kinetics and lifespan of lymphocytes will be going on. So majority of the cells will be already in the circulation. Only 2% will be in the peripheral lymphoid tissue, As and when required, they will be recirculated. The function, as we have already seen, the B lymphocytes responsible for humoral immunity, T lymphocytes cell-mediated immunity. So that is a function of lymphocyte. Coming to the monocyte, this is the largest amongst all WBC. So the size is around 12 to 20 micrometer, and by the size only we can differentiate or identify this particular cell under the microscope. The nucleus again is very large, is single, and it is eccentric, so present on one side of the cell. Generally, it is horseshoe shaped or kidney shaped. The cytoplasm is abundant, it's pale blue, and there are no granules as it is an granular cell. So we can see that this is the largest cell. It is having a kidney shaped nucleus and very abundant cytoplasm is present. After release from the bone marrow, they remain in the circulation for 10 to 20 or sometimes over 40 hours. Then they leave the blood, enter into the extravascular tissues. The tissues, it will be converted into monocytes, and the monocytes will be converted into macrophages. So the tissues in monocytes will be converted into macrophages, as we have already seen. And as a macrophage, the tissues, they can live for months to years. So the lifespan of macrophages is months to years. The function of this is rolling the defense mechanism to then help along with the neutrophils in the process of phagocytosis. They are helping in the process of tumor immunity. So monocyte plus lymphocyte, they kill the tumor cells. Then there is a synthesis of biological substances also. Some substances will be synthesized by this. So in summary, what we have seen is different types of WBC, the normal counts of WBC, how they are formed, and what are the morphology, and what are the different variations. So that we have seen here up till now. Now histologically, I have tried to have the microscopic pictures of these. I don't know, because when you are going to college, I don't know whether on when you are going to join the college. So these are the pictures, actual pictures, how the cells are looking. So these are non-nucleated cells, which are all RBCs. So they will be not having nucleus. And these two cells are the nucleated cells, which are the WBCs. Now this particular WBCs, the two are neutrophil. So we can see there are fine granules and there are number of lobes of nucleus, which are connected with chromatin filaments. And this is basophil. So we can see dark violet color granules which are coarse in size, and we can't identify the nucleus. So this is the actual picture of basophil. This is eosinophil. So it is a bilobe nucleus, spectacle shaped nucleus. And if you, in this picture, it is not clear, but if you compare with the neutrophils, these granules which are pinkish in color, they will be coarse and large pinkish. Okay, so this is how we can identify the eosinophil. Remember that sometimes immature type of neutrophil, which may be having two lobes, and eosinophil is also having two lobes. So to differentiate between these two cells, what we have to do is compare the granules. So the cell which is having fine granules is neutrophil. The cell which is having coarse dark pink color granules, they will be eosinophil. This is the lymphocyte. Okay, so you can't identify the cell membrane. Whole of the cell is having an ink dot appearance of the nucleus. So it is just a dot-like appearance, and this is lymphocyte. You can identify the RBCs also, and this we can see that this is a large lymphocyte. So we can identify some amount of cytoplasm is seen here, and the nucleus can be also shifted towards one side and can be identified. Okay, so this is how we can identify all these cells. And the cell size can be compared with by comparing with the size of RBC. So these are all surrounding RBCs, and we know that the RBC size is around 7 to 8 micrometers. So actual average is 7.2. So we can compare the size. So this we can see that it is double the size of RBC. So like this, the judgment of the size is there. So whenever you are identifying any cell, what we have to see is first see whether it is an granular site or a granular site. Okay. So first look for the cytoplasm, identify the cell, whether it is granulocyte or granulocyte. Then try to look for the differentiating feature. What is eosinophil, basophil, and neutrophil. Okay. So this is how we are going to identify. This actually I have prepared, I think 2 or 3 years back, this particular slide where the physical lectures were going on. And these questions actually I asked to the students, but now this is an virtual session. So this particular slide is having for you to identify these cells, and these are the answers for this. The first one is lymphocyte, which is having intense thinning of nucleus with a thinning of cytoplasm. Second, fifth, and sixth are monocyte. So note there are different types of nucleus shapes. And 3 and 4th number of slide is having neutrophils. So that is multilobulated nucleus and lavender cytoplasm. You can again go through the particular slide and try to identify the cell. Now, this is how we have finished up till now the WBCs. Now, as a doctor, you should know how we can maintain our WBCs, because maintenance of immunity, maintenance of the protection of our body is very important. So what we have to do is avoid sugar, keep the sweet stuff to a minimum. Sugar will prevent the white blood cells from being their strongest. So that is one reason. So as far as possible, you try to avoid the sugar. Now, this I'm telling as you, but as a doctor, you have to convince to your patients. Eliminate the unhealthy fats, polyunsaturated fats in vegetable oils, such as corn, sunflower, safflower, are all deterrents to a healthy immune system. So you have to ask the patients to switch on and eliminate the unhealthy fats. If you are overweight, lose a few pounds of your weight. Being overweight is very detrimental to your immune system. And many of the studies have shown that overweight people are less able to fight off the infection. So obesity is a big problem in the prevention of disorders. So you can think of all these factors. Then drink plenty of water to boost the immune system as well as flush out toxins. Exercise is a proven immune system booster. Exercise is best in moderation, but too much exercise may wear the body down and create the immune system problems. So you have to be very optimal in doing the exercise also. Or whenever you are advising someone, you have to have a particular plan of the exercise according to the body type of your patient. Avoid stress, try to relax. Stress is rightly called the silent killer, and too much stress invariably leads to a lowered immune system. Now, why I have added these particular slides is that I know that maybe 1 or 2 months, maybe much more than that, hope that before that you will be joining your classes, but this is how you have to maintain your immune system. So maintenance of healthy body is the first and the most important lesson which I have learned during the corona period. So I just wanted you to share these particular slides. These are extra slides, of course, not included for your syllabus or exam purpose. Foods that increases will be citrus fruit, yogurts, garlic, ginger, green teas, poultry. So we can have any of these. And I think that is all regarding the WBC. I hope you have understood every point in this particular topic. Okay, thank you very much.